Here's what most people don't realize. You can be a high performer and still be a weak leader. Today, we're going to unpack why and what the best leaders do different from the rest. This is Inside the ALP, where we go behind the curtains on the conversations leaders are having inside our Accelerated Leader Program. And today's discussion is around what it means to be a great leader and where most people get it wrong. So in our leader programs, we spend time defining leadership. When we're having these discussions, how do people generally define leadership?
Simply, when you ask them about leadership, they immediately jump to, here's my role. So they equate leadership as a role they hold within an organization.
Positional.
Yeah. And then when you dive in deeper, then they start to talk about all the tasks that they complete as a leader. I manage this, I do that task. And then it's interesting as they start to talk about their people, they don't change their way that they talk about it. They just see their people as another resource system or a task that they need to do. I need to have my people do this, do that. So it's interesting as we have those conversations.
And what's the problem with that?
Well, it's very transactional in nature, and we talk about that in our program. What does it look like to be a transactional in your leadership? And it is that we treat our team, we have our heads down in a spreadsheet. Our team comes in to ask us questions. We look up, what do we see? We see a spreadsheet. And so we don't treat them any different. We don't look at that and go, hey, this is the most complex system in my organization. How do I need to lead this person that's in front of me?
Okay, so this concept, everybody's a leader, true or false?
I think false. I think everyone can be a leader, but not everyone is a leader. And why I say that is when you talk to people, it starts, I think, with their ability to lead themselves first. So I think some people think leadership is that I need to look back and have 5 people following me. That makes me a leader. But when you start talking to individuals about how they lead themselves, how do they live out their talent, their strengths, and how they add value to the organization, their values, that if you can lead yourself and demonstrate that you're leading yourself in those areas, it actually becomes easier to lead others because you're modeling it.
Well, and you're engaging in the hardest part about leadership, which is the work on yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I've struggled with, this concept when people say, well, everyone's a leader, then it removes the responsibility. Because for a leader to be effective, then it's a very intentional choice. Everybody has an impact, both positive or negative. But what makes leadership very specific is that choice, that intention.
Well, let's talk about that for a moment. I'm sitting here and go, I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader. So does that make me a leader? Like when you think about, define to me intentionality, what does that look like?
Well, we can acknowledge that you want to be a leader. The next step is, what does that mean to you? What does that look like in your world? Because I think where people struggle is they go and they seek to find what is that perfect definition of leadership.
Right.
And my perspective is it's far less productive to try to find the perfect definition of leadership, but let's get really clear about what it means to you. What does it look like in your world? And how do we get you stepping into it?
Yeah. I mean, if you look, there's many different leaders. They're not all the same. They bring value to the organization differently. So yeah, you're right. Trying to define what it means for you to be a leader, what it looks like, is probably one of the most important first steps when it comes to leadership.
So let's talk leadership versus management.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
The difference for me is that management is managing, like I mentioned at the front end, it's like managing the tasks, managing the business, managing the budget. Like there's things that you need to do as a leader to ensure that your business is running smoothly. Leadership for me is less about what tasks need to be done so that you create systems within your business that are successful. And leadership is about how am I making things better, myself better, How am I living out more of my values? And more importantly, how am I making the people that are in my organization better, and that they're growing and they're not a task that needs to be done?
Yeah, I think that being the biggest difference. You manage tasks, you manage efficiency and output, and leadership is more about the space, the energy, the culture, the behavior, and ultimately the people.
Yeah, I think management complements leadership, and leadership complements management. Like, I think you need both. They're not.
You do need both,
right or wrong.
And I think that's what drives me crazy is when you see leadership getting glorified and management getting villainized, like it's some dark thing. The best leaders I know how to manage well, and the best managers know how to activate their leadership.
Yeah.
So very complementary.
Yeah, and I think it's a very important topic, because I feel like most people, when they talk about they want to be a leader, and then you talk to them about management, they don't want to do the management side, because then I'm not a leader if I'm managing. Well, what if they complement each other?
It plays a role.
It does.
Yeah. Good leader, bad leader. When you're having discussions around the best leaders people see inside their organizations, what are you hearing?
When I think about how we describe, it's all the qualities. What's interesting is that there's a common theme, and the common theme is the qualities is focused on the other person. So when they talk about, they put me first, they helped me grow, their focus was on them and their abilities to be in the organization. They let me experiment. They let me do things that I was good at. They gave me feedback where I could be better because they believed in me. So a lot of it's like the qualities are really focused on the person.
Yeah.
That seems to be the theme.
Mm-hmm. Things that I hear that inspire people around their top leaders, they're constantly learning. They're always committed to growing themselves. Mm-hmm. They're often, despite their authority, they're often very humble. These are things that people tend to be inspired by when they're describing their best leader.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because when you talk about the quality that they're growing, that they're doing some things for themselves, I don't think those qualities come out when we ask them about good quality of the leaders. Why do you think that doesn't come up? No one ever said to me, a good quality of a leader is that they're always growing themselves. That is not common.
They haven't said that to you? I hear that from people.
It's not immediate. Like, it's not, maybe as the dialogue comes up, but it's not like.
Okay, here's the difference. In our courses, we talk about what describes the best leader. People often describe qualities maybe that are heroic, that fit in line with the way leaders should be at their best. But when I'm having coffee with people and they're gushing about their leader, it's things like this. They're continually learning. They're very curious. They want to get better.
Yeah.
And so describing a principle of leadership versus describing the impact it has on you.
Where my mind goes is that the reason why they don't talk about the qualities, because the leader's so humble, they don't talk about it. They don't talk about themselves. They don't tell their team what they're learning. Where it shows up, though, is the humility. Mm-hmm. They admit when they make a mistake. Like, those are some of the qualities that come up.
Okay, well, let's go to the flip side. Worst leader. When people are describing the leaders that they're most challenged with, what do they say?
Number one, micromanage me. Like, that, if there's one quality that comes up often, in fact, there's times where I'll just write it down before it even comes up, because it's going to be the first one that comes up. But then following shortly after that, it's things like self-interest. They take credit for the work that I did. So it's sort of like the opposite. Instead of now focused on me, then they turn it back on themselves. It's all about them. And their self-orientation through the roof, which breaks trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that you're all here to serve my needs.
Yeah. Well, when you think about all the leaders you've had, what comes to mind for you the worst quality that you've experienced?
they treated me like I was disposable. Simply a unit of production. That's it.
Yeah, something, you are a tool or a resource for me.
Yeah.
To get ahead, and when I don't need you anymore,
Discarded.
Discarded. Yeah. That's just the words disposable and discarded. There's some power behind those words.
On the flip side, it's meaningful. The opposite is the leaders that truly care. They put your interests, your growth as a priority.
Yeah. It's interesting because from my experience, I put other people, their growth ahead of me. It actually benefits the organization.
Yeah.
Versus discarding you once I get what I need, it's not sustainable.
Yeah. Is my approach just simply extraction, continuous extraction, or is it trying to elevate? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We talk meaningful performance and high performance.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, I think what I'm just saying is that when it's all about what I need to accomplish, and then when I get it, you're done. For me, that feels like high performance, winning at all costs. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to get and most people do, because they do whatever it takes. They obsess about it. They get the results, but the shrapnel behind them, it's not sustainable. And what I mean by the biggest shrapnel left behind is trust broken. People feel discarded. They're getting all the glory because the objectives were met. And maybe the senior teams see the success of that individual, but what they don't see is the shrapnel left behind.
Yeah.
See it often.
Yeah, winning at all costs.
Yeah.
I've seen both high performance athletes, business leaders take on that approach of winning at all costs. Do they achieve results? Yeah. Do they have anyone left around to celebrate with them afterwards? No.
Well, and if they do celebrate, I mean, at least what I've seen, they celebrate because they feel like they have to, right? They're not doing it because they want to. They feel like they're obligated to because it's just putting on a show.
Okay, well, what's meaningful performance? How is it different?
If you look at the opposite, where we're reaching our objectives and there is a tremendous team that's celebrating with us, I think that's meaningful performance, where everyone sees their role in their hand and what they brought and the value they brought to get there. It's, in fact, no one knows who the leader was, because that leader is not saying, "Look at me, look what I did to get there at all costs." It was, no, we did this together. Was it tough? Yeah, I had to let go of some things so this person could grow. I had to give up being in front of this person that I wanted to be in front of because it would be better for my team to get, like, for me, that's meaningful performance. How would you define it?
Well, excellence is the objective in both of them. For me, meaningful performance is when the entry point or the approach is different. What is the type of leader you want to be? What's the type of business owner you want to be? What's the impact you want to have? And it's my job to really pull out that vision in you so that you can see for yourself how you want to be, what you want to do. And then it's my job to hold you to the standard that you just said. And so there can be a ruthless commitment to excellence. It's just, I'm holding you to your standard.
Yeah.
Helping you see the impact that you can create, giving feedback and engaging in the process to make sure you get what you say is important. To me, that's meaningful performance. And along the path, you may find out that, well, this actually isn't as meaningful to me. That's also meaningful performance, because you're developing awareness that allows you to confirm or course correct that this is the path for you.
Yeah, what you got me thinking about is maybe how we use the word meaningful. And I'm going to play it back. It may not be what you were saying, but it got me thinking about it. That meaningful performance is that what does working here mean for you? Yeah. What does leadership mean for you? What objectives are we accomplishing that's meaningful for you? Not because I'm the leader and telling you what you need to make meaning, like what needs to be meaningful for you. You're making that meaning, because what's the benefit when it's your meaning, and it's what you want to do, and it's the objectives you think we should meet that adds value.
Well, one is engagement, inspiration. The other one, you only have so many levers to pull. What's the carrot or what's the stick?
Yep. If you're looking at high performance. Yeah.
High performance at its worst.
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
Highly transactional. It's a carrot or stick.
Yeah. But I think the word meaningful leadership, when we put it this way, makes a lot of sense. But I think some people feel like you need to be high performing to reach objectives. Meaningful leadership you won't, or if it does, it takes longer.
Or that meaningful leadership is very soft and fluffy. Yeah. No, I think there have been leaders who have achieved what some would call high performance results, excellence, with a very different approach. And there have been others that take more of a very transactional, classic high performance approach that is very ruthless and transactional versus a ruthless commitment to meaning and excellence. It's a subtle line that makes a significant difference. Yeah,
it's rare that a really meaningful leader, at least from my perspective, shows up in the movies. Sometimes we glorify the high-performing leader, the wolf on Wall Street. Like those make stories, and we think that that's what you need to be to.
And then that's the virus that spreads.
It is the virus.
And we wonder why the world hasn't solved the global engagement crisis.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the often missed dark side of leadership.
Yeah, share with me your perspective. What do you mean by dark side?
Well, you were sharing a story at lunch about a teammate who came to you, and you're fighting your impulse.
Right. Yeah.
That's a dark side of leadership that most people don't acknowledge. So let's unpack it, but share your story.
Yeah. I had an employee come to me with a problem. And they walked me through the problem. There was quite a few times where I was just like, I had my thoughts and my ideas about what we should do, but I allowed myself to be patient. At the end of the conversation, they shared the solution, what we should do. And I looked at it and like, that's a great solution. Go with that. But my impulse was to be like, let's just get this done and boom, boom, boom. But if I'd done that, I would have stolen this person's satisfaction in sharing their solution that was the right solution.
Yeah.
Even if my solution was exactly the same, I still would have taken away that satisfaction, because it would have ended up that person going, well, actually that was what I was going to suggest, but you'd already suggested it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I feel like that's deflating.
It is deflating, and it is a dark side of leadership because people don't notice it often as an acute pain, like you're a micromanager or you're a disrespectful leader. But if you're a leader who quickly jumps to solving the problems when people come to you, then you're removing the opportunity to create problem solvers. And people are wondering, well, why am I left unfulfilled? Is because they can't bring their art, their creativity. And it leads to a dark side of leadership. And we talk about creators and consumers. If you're a leader who's just taught people to consume your solutions and go execute them, then there's not the same level of fulfillment versus those who have to think, get resourceful, stretch themselves, and come to their leader and sell the problem. When the leader creates that space, that's when engagement tends to be higher.
And there's no such thing as a perfect leader. Like we all make those mistakes. Even I default, as that example, I could have easily just tipped it and started to give my solution simply out of repetition, my excitement for that they brought it to me, my sense that they're bringing it to me for a reason, they want me to solve it. And unfortunately, we've grown up in our leadership as solvers, which got us for people to come to us more often. And so we have a hard time getting rid of that desire to solve, either habit or whatever it might be.
So there's no such thing as a perfect leader. We show up as a good leader, we show up as a bad leader. If we can acknowledge that we show up on both sides, then what's important?
What's important for every leader is to understand what pulls me into worst leader. How do I recognize that I'm there? And then I think the greatest leaders are the ones who can quickly recognize they're acting out of bad leadership and pivot and get back into good leadership.
Yeah. So it requires awareness.
Yeah.
It requires the humility to understand that I'm not always going to be at my best.
Yeah. And let's go back to the awareness. When we ask leaders what pulls you into worst leader, first and foremost, always it's stress. I'm stressed. And what makes that stress is priorities, too much work. There's quite a few ways that cause leaders to be stressful. But the common is stress. And we as leaders, when we teach it in our program, there's a real reason why we want you to inventory your stress and manage it. It's because it's the stress that pulls you into worst leader. A good indicator that you're in worst leader is that you keep having people come to you for answers. They're not coming to you with solutions.
Yeah, that's an indicator.
Yeah, because in our program we talk about it. Worst leaders, what happens to your employees when you show up as worst leaders? There's a physiological response. And that is in the brain, shuts down, they stop being creative and stop being resourceful. So when I'm showing up in worst leader, this is how critical it is. When I show up as worst leader, I'm making my team less creative, less resourceful, and in turn they have to come into me for answers because they can't think or don't feel comfortable to share their own solutions. A good indicator that you're showing up more often in best leader is you have less and less people coming to you for answers and more people coming to you with solutions. It's a good feedback mechanism.
If you're willing to see it.
If you're willing to see it.
So good leader, bad leader, the space in between, it all comes down to awareness, creating an inventory, and knowing when you're getting hooked in a bad leader, pulling yourself back over to the good leader column. But in order to do that, you need to identify both sides for yourself.
Yeah.
If there's one lens you want people to look through, that's important when it comes to finishing this conversation. What do you want to leave them with?
Well, there's a couple things. One, I think I want people to leave with that there's no such thing as perfection, only progression. And part of that progression with leadership is recognizing what is the type of leader I want to be and what's the type of leader I don't want to be, what is the poor qualities that I never want to show up in, and then look at that gap. What pulls me in? Being really aware of what pulls me in. Sometimes we have to ask, we might have blind spots. I might have to come to you, Jayson, and go, is there something I'm missing?
We might have blind spots, or we do have blind spots.
Yeah. I'm just about to open up my 360, and I guarantee there's going to be some blind spots there after this conversation, but that I might not even be aware of. So part of the awareness isn't just self-awareness. I think that's important
too. It's
too.
building the awareness around you, the feedback mechanisms.
Getting the feedback from others that hey, this is what pulls you in. These do, you're right, but don't miss these ones that pull you in. I think that is an important part of leadership, is being really aware of what pulls you in.
Yeah.
Not hoping that you show up every day as a good leader.
A never-ending exploration. But these are some of the discussions that happen inside the ALP.
That's right.
If this conversation stirred something in you, then you definitely don't want to miss the next one, where we unpack what a leader mindset is and why it matters greatly. So make sure that you follow the channel, and we'll see you at the next one.